Claire Morgan, Gemini, had never stayed in one place long enough to watch the seasons change. She belonged to the world, flitting from country to country, collecting fleeting moments like postcards. A sunset in Santorini, a monsoon in Bangkok, a snowstorm in Prague. It was a life without roots, and she loved it that way. Or at least she thought she did. Then she met Daniel Whitmore, Capricorn, a man who thrived on order, stability, and everything she spent her life avoiding. They had met by chance in Santorini at a cafe overlooking the caldera. Claire had been too busy adjusting her camera, too lost in the golden light, and had ended up spilling espresso all over the crisp suit of the man beside her. She had laughed, expecting annoyance, but Daniel had simply sighed, wiped his sleeve with a napkin, and said, "You move too fast." That should have been the end of it. But something about him, his calmness, his quiet strength, had made her stay. For 2 days they were inseparable. Daniel, ever the planner, had come to Greece for a law conference, his schedule meticulously outlined. But Claire had a way of derailing plans, pulling him into backstreet tavernas, convincing him to chase the sunset on a motorbike, making him forget, just for a little while, the weight of responsibility. "You're impossible," he had told her one night, after she had convinced him to climb onto a rooftop just to stargaze. She had grinned. "And yet, here you are." But Claire had rules, no attachments, no expectations. So when her flight to Thailand arrived, she boarded without hesitation. At least, that's what she told herself. Because for the first time in years, leaving didn't feel like freedom. It felt like a mistake. New York City, 2 months later. Claire wasn't supposed to be here, not this soon, but a brand deal had brought her back to the States, and without overthinking it, she had texted Daniel. Now, sitting across from him at a Manhattan cafe, she realized how much she had missed him. He looked different here, colder, more controlled, the easygoing man from Santorini replaced by someone who checked his watch too often. But when he looked at her, something in his expression softened. "You're back," he said, setting his phone aside. "For now," she admitted. They fell back into something familiar, meeting up between his late nights at the office and her last-minute adventures. They shouldn't have worked. Daniel planned his life down to the minute. Claire never planned beyond tomorrow. She dragged him to art exhibits and underground jazz clubs. He taught her the quiet beauty of routine, waking up to the same face, having someone who knew how you took your coffee. For the first time, Claire felt anchored, and that scared her, because when Claire let people in, they left. Her mother had walked out when she was 8. Her father had drowned himself in work, barely noticing her absence when she left home at 18. She had spent her life learning not to need anyone. So when things with Daniel started to feel too real, she shut down, missed plans, ignored texts. Daniel, always observant, noticed. One evening, he showed up at her apartment, his usual patience stretched thin. "You're pulling away," he said simply. She forced a smile. "I'm just busy." His gaze didn't waver. "That's not it," she swallowed. "We're too different, Daniel. This was fun, but let's be honest. This was never meant to last." His jaw tightened. "Says who?" Claire hesitated, heart pounding. "People leave," she whispered. "That's what they do." His voice was steady. "I'm not people, Claire." And for a moment, she almost believed him. But then came the job offer, a year-long contract to travel, all expenses paid. When she told Daniel, she expected an argument. Instead, he surprised her. "When do you leave?" She blinked. "You're not going to tell me to stay?" He exhaled slowly. "Would it change anything if I did?" The silence between them was deafening. That night, Claire packed her bags, and for the first time, she felt like she was making the wrong choice. Claire should have been happy. She was in Paris, then Bali, then Morocco. She was doing exactly what she had always wanted, living on her terms unburdened, and yet everything felt empty. She saw a sunset over the Sahara and thought of the way Daniel had looked at her in Santorini. She wandered through crowded streets and felt alone in a way she never had before. One night, in a quiet cafe in Lisbon, she pulled out her phone. Her fingers hovered over his contact. She typed, "Do you ever wonder if we made the wrong choice?" A reply came almost instantly. "Every day." Her breath caught, Before she could talk herself out of it, she booked a flight. 1 week later, Claire stood outside Daniel's office in New York. He looked up from his desk, stunned. "You're here," he said, standing slowly. She exhaled. "Yeah. And for once, I don't have a plane to catch." His lips twitched. "That's new." She took a step closer. "I was scared, Daniel. Of this. Of us. But I'm tired of running." His gaze searched hers. "Are you sure?" She nodded. "I don't know where this leads, but for the first time in my life, I don't want to find out alone." Daniel studied her for a long moment. Then with a small smile, he said, "It's about time." As he pulled her into his arms, Claire realized something. She had spent her life chasing the stars. But love was the place you always came back to.